So let's come to lie on our backs, just more comfortably with the arms away from the body, the palms facing up. Just relaxing everything down, feeling the weight of the bones. Start to take longer, deeper breaths, filling up toward the bottom of the lungs. Filling up the sides of the lungs. And filling up the back of the lungs. And while we're breathing here, we're going to tuck the right hand under the low back and turn the head to the left to help release across the right side of the neck. So your left cheek is dropping toward the floor, jaw is relaxed, and the breath is all the way up toward the right shoulder, which you're relaxing back down toward the floor. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And we'll bring the head back to center, slide the right hand out, and then tuck the left hand under and turn the head all the way to the right, letting the right cheek drop toward the floor, relaxing the left shoulder down, and breathing up toward that left shoulder. deep breaths. We'll take the left hand out, turn the head back to center, and just rock the head side to side a few times. And then we're going to bend the knees, place the feet on the floor. I'm going to hug the knees to the chest. We're going to spend a little time on the hips today in various positions. But we'll start with opening up the back of the legs, sending the heels to the ceiling. You can hold the back of the legs for a moment with your hands and flex your feet. And as you do that, separate the toes as much as you can. And then point the feet. Flex and separate the toes. Point and flex, holding this flexing for about 3 or 4 breaths. Really open up the toes. And then we'll come into happy baby. So if you're able to grab your feet, you're going to hold onto the outer edge and pull the knees to either side of the body toward the floor. If this is a challenge, hold the ankles or your pants or add a strap across the legs. And so we'll be here for a little while, and you want to just forget about the position you're in and notice what you're feeling in the body and where, and keep breathing deeply. So far down into the bottom of the lungs that the belly expands as you inhale. You're still here for about another minute. Really allow those hips to relax. more deep breaths. It's usually in these last few breaths that all the change begins to really show itself. You're feeling more. And then we're not actually going to release this yet. We're going to bring the soles of the feet towards each other. And then without bending the knees a lot, we're going to extend the legs so that the toes come toward the face. Now, it doesn't matter how far away it is, okay? We're not worried about the actual shape, but you do want the knees to soften, and you want the change of opening to happen in the sacral and sit bone area toward the tailbone. When we're with the legs, feet together and the legs more extended, we're changing the opening in the body. Just notice that and breathe. Free to rock here if it feels right in your body, but not really too far over. You don't want to lose balance. By doing that, we're changing the pressure on the back. Notice if you can feel that. And that also changes the way the leg is being pulled in toward the body, just a little bit, and enough to really notice how when you're on one side it feels different than in the middle, and then how the other side feels in comparison. Okay, so we're going to let this go, but you're going to hold on to the left foot and release the right leg back down. You can have the knee bent or extend the leg. We're going to come into like a reverse pigeon. So we're pulling that left foot toward the right shoulder. Even if it's way up here, it doesn't matter. And this might be where you might need a strap. So the left knee is coming toward the left shoulder, and the left foot is coming toward the right shoulder. And we're just gently pulling the shin toward the chest. That right leg is completely relaxed. You don't have to do anything to it. We're going to hold this for a little while, getting a little arm strength in at the same time. Make sure you're taking deep breaths. we're going to change the direction just a little bit. Right now, the foot is over top of the right shoulder. Now we're going to extend it about 3 or 4 inches beyond the right shoulder. Now the left knee is a little closer to being over the armpit rather than the shoulder. And keep breathing. A few more breaths in this angle. And then we'll extend the leg a little bit more. So now the foot is quite a bit over to the right side of you, and your knee is almost center of the chest. Almost, not quite. You're still holding that foot up in the air and pulling it toward the chest. You're going to start feeling it differently now in the outer edge of the left leg. You can massage that if you want. Deep breaths. Even rock here a little bit. Just by pulling the foot a little bit down toward the floor, you're going to sort of roll over a little and then come back. So this is just a tiny movement just to wake up the outer edge of that hip and into the sacrum. A few more breaths here. Foot's falling asleep, just kind of wiggle it a little bit, make circles with the ankle. And then this is our final stage. You might need a strap to hook around the foot, and then hold on with the right hand. You're going to open up that leg toward the floor. Now don't worry about how straight that knee is. What we want is the foot up high. If you straighten the knee, you're going to take the foot down low. We're really pulling this up high now. Some of you may not need a strap, and that's fine. You just grab the foot. So it's not about touching the floor. Your arm is actually on the floor, and you're supporting yourself in yet another angle of this posture. Your left hip is elevated off the floor now, and you're doing your best to pull it back. At the same time, pull the foot toward the floor. Breathing deeply. Don't give up. I know it gets a little bit uncomfortable, but this is what Yin is about. It's about changing the structure in the body. And you do have to go through those uncomfortable moments in order to do that. So try to make it more comfortable using your hand, massaging the area, or breathing more deeply into it. Imagining the breath moving there. A few more breaths. Okay, so now we're going to do what we call greasing the joint. Slowly bring this left foot back over the chest and out like in Happy Baby. And slowly bring it back over the chest in the opposite direction. Switch hands and pull it out to the side. As far as it goes. Slowly bringing it back into half Happy Baby. And again, pulling it across the chest, switching hands, opening up the leg toward the other side. We'll do this a few more times. Breathing as you do, moving slowly. One more time. We'll hold it out here with the leg extended for about 3 breaths. And then slowly bring it back. Half Happy Baby. And release this foot to the floor, extend the leg, and rest in Shavasana for a few breaths. Notice if you can feel a difference between the 2 hips. I'm just going to turn around so you can see me better. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So when you're ready, you're going to bring that right foot up, knee to chest, and half Happy Baby. And then pull with the left hand, grab your right foot and pull the foot across the chest so that it's over top of the left shoulder. Your right knee will be over top of the right shoulder. We're going to breathe deeply here. I actually lost circulation in my left foot. It'll come back. So we're starting out here, taking long, deep breaths. Ankle or knee is unhappy about this, try flexing the foot. It really changes the dynamic in the joints. Feel free to massage the outer edge of the leg. deeply. Then let's pull that right foot about 3 or 4 inches to the outer edge of the left shoulder. And now the knee is sort of above the armpit area on the right side. So it's a slight change in the outer edge of the hip. Maybe massage it till it feels better. We'll be here for a little while breathing. Oh, now you're going to start to feel something changing in the outer edge of the hip. And then we'll now move that right foot again further over so that now the knee is almost center of the chest. Breathing deeply here. Again, it'll feel different now. Rocking a little bit here can be helpful, preparing you for what's coming. A few more breaths in this spot. Okay, so let that left elbow come to the floor and then begin to extend that right leg just as far as it's manageable right now. The knee does not have to straighten yet or ever. And of course, feel free to massage that whole outer edge of the leg all the way in toward the sacrum. Still breathing deeply. We're almost there. Let's take another 3 deep breaths. You're done. Bring this knee back into half happy baby. And again, sliding or pulling that leg across to the other side, opening it up again. Bending, half happy baby. Slowly bring it back over to the left side, extending the leg maybe a little more. Again. Always pulling it as close to you as you can to really get that opening through the outer edge of the hip into the sacrum. And then finally bringing it back into half happy baby. And then bending the knee toward the chest. And slowly lowering the leg and then extending it, coming into Shavasana for a little while, breathing deeply, feeling the weight of the legs resting down and noticing the sensations in the hips. And then we'll bend the knees. Place the feet on the floor. Hug the knees into the chest. Rocking a little bit. And then we'll roll to one side and take our time pushing ourselves up. So we're going to work on a really hard posture now. You might need some blocks. It's a long process, so you'll have to be patient with the whole thing. We're going into splits. So we're going to go in stages and steps, and you want to have some kind of blocks. These are egg-shaped, but these other rectangular shaped blocks are perfect as well. Hopefully you have two. If you don't, a stack of something like a couple books, whatever you've got that's firm and supportive that you could put underneath your legs as we come into this would be a good idea. Now, if you have sensitive knees, you might want to have, even if you don't have sensitive knees, I don't, but I prefer having my kneecaps cushioned a little bit in this pose. So I'm going to lay a blanket down on the mat. About in the second half of the mat, because my knee will be back here. We're going to start again with the left leg. Since I'm already facing this way, you'll be able to see it better. Now, we're going to start off in just a bit of a hamstring stretch. So my hands need something because I could do it like this with fists or with my fingers, but coming down all the way is just a little too intense for me at the moment. So, hopefully you can see this well. My left leg is extended, my foot is flexed, and my right hip is pretty much above my right knee. So I'm not sinking back here and I'm not up here. We'll get there. So for now, we're just going to hang out here. Send that left sit bone back as much as you can. If this is all you get out of today, this is a good thing to do. It's not an easy pose, and it's hard to get into that space around the piriformis and the lower part of the glutes. So this is one of those poses that will help. So we're taking deep breaths, and we're holding this for about a minute and a half, if we can. Really send that left sit bone back. Okay, so we're almost ready to transition. It's an easy transition. You're going to bend your left knee and come into a lunge. So the lunge is, last week we did lunge to help prepare us for this. So the lunge is all about, in this case, opening up through the right hip flexor. What's happening in the left leg at the moment is not really going to help us with the splits as much as what we're getting out of this. So just concentrate on bringing the weight up into the back leg so that you have some opening through the hip flexor. You may wonder why we need to do the splits. We don't, but we need to open up these tight areas because we sit so much, especially now. So what we are getting is tighter and stiffer through the hips, and when we're carrying worries and fears and tension settles in these areas that we're stagnant in. So we're having to release this more often. And if you are able to do some squats at home, that's a good thing to do. Any kind of stretching through the hips that you can do would be great. But this is the ultimate in hip stretching that we're working on right now. We're almost there. Let's just take a few more deep breaths. And so you have the option to slide the back knee back, which is what I'm going to do, or slide the front foot forward, but then we're going to straighten that front leg. So now my hips are not over my right knee anymore. They're quite a bit far forward. So we're getting a little closer to being in the splits. I'm flexing my left foot because I find it's much more effective for me, but you don't have to do this. It makes it quite intense. So we're breathing deeply. Even though you can come all the way in, these steps are necessary because what we're doing is we're correctly, with a correct alignment, we are releasing the tension that keep us from being perfectly aligned when we come into the splits. Like I right now feel this in one particular hamstring. I know that I avoid stretching that hamstring when I do the splits. So I'm actually making myself go through the baby steps in order to have all parts release properly before I come all the way in. So from here, we're going to bend that front knee now. We're coming into a different type of lunge. It's much more deep. You're going to need your hands to support you even more. Keep breathing. And don't give up. Don't give up, everybody. This is not easy, I know, but it's over very soon. And you'll be glad you did it after. Keep going, breathing deeply. the wrists do take a bit of a toll here, so you're having to experiment a little bit with the way that you support yourself. Maybe holding the edge of the block rather than the whole hand on the block can be helpful as well. Okay, we're almost there. Coming into the final stage. Let's take 3 more breaths before we do. Okay, I'm going to place a block under my right thigh and under my left thigh or calf or whatever it reaches. Now you might need to turn it up so that it's a bit higher, especially if you have the rectangular block, you can do that. The idea is that you're holding yourself square, meaning you're not turning the right knee out at all, and you are able to maintain this slightly elevated position. We're not going to be here very long. Halfway there. Three more deep breaths. Don't give up. Now, for those of you who are ready to come out, you're going to come into a child's pose. Those of you who want to take this a little bit further are going to pull out the supports and lower yourself down to whatever place you're able to get to. Don't expect it all to happen today. I've been doing splits since I was 8 and I have never stopped, so for me this is not as difficult as it would be for those who have never really done splits before, so don't try to compare. We're all going to be in child's pose in just a moment, so if you're already ready, go there now. Otherwise, those of you who have hung out just a little bit longer will take 5 breaths. Coming out however you're able to without moving too quickly. We're all going to meet in child's pose. 2 more deep breaths. And slowly roll up. And we can't be lopsided, so we have to do the other leg. Maybe this leg will be easier. We're going to start on our hands and our knees, and we're stepping this time the right foot forward, and we're keeping the hips over top of the left knee, and we're flexing, well, perhaps we're flexing the front foot. It's not necessary. You can relax it. Well, I'm starting with mine flexed, and at the same time I'm sending my right sit bone back as far as I can. Breathing deeply. So I'll just give a little bit of background or deeper understanding to why we even do these stretches at all, any of them. So we have these energy lines that run through the body you may have heard of, called meridians, and in yoga we call them prana nadis. When we grow and we go through some trauma, we go through stress and tension, we have shocks that affect us in life, our bodies tend to create blocks in the flow of energy. Not purposefully, of course, but it's a result of the reaction in our bodies and our emotional world that create these blocks. Also, our lifestyle. How much movement do we get? You know, how deeply do we breathe? How happy or inspired are we? What happens is the body starts to tighten up, as you know, with age especially, and these energy lines start to be pulled so tightly that they have a weakened flow of energy. When we do these stretches, any yoga at all, but particularly Yin, we are undoing the tension that is keeping the flow of energy from being strong. But what we're also doing is we're removing all the negative energy. So we're actually going to feel better. We'll think more clearly. We'll have more inspiration to do things that are creative. So we're not just doing this for the body. We're doing this for our whole life experience. So forget about the discomfort. This is temporary. The results is a lot longer lasting, so we want to do that. We're ready to go into lunge now, so you might want to move your blocks or your hands forward. We're bending the front knee, and we're allowing the left hip flexor to open up and sink down toward the floor. Breathing deeply. Doing your best to let go through that left hip. It's not an easy task. There'll be so much resistance. But talk yourself through it. See if you can let go just a little bit or a little more. And another benefit, since I'm laying it on today, another benefit that you may find here is that you putting yourself through these uncomfortable moments here in yoga strengthen your ability to cope with uncomfortable moments in life. It's like a tolerance building. Your patience grows because you know that there's a result that you're working toward. You become much more capable of staying on the path you've chosen without running off because it's hard. So these practices do a lot for us, and I'm glad you're all here doing it. Breathe so deeply that the belly expansion stretches the fascia attached to the left hip flexor. Just 2 more breaths here. Good. Now we're going to slide the back knee back a few inches, and then we're going to straighten out that front leg. So we're getting a little bit of both now. Mostly in the right leg we're getting a hamstring stretch, but we're still getting a little bit out of the lunge in the left hip. Keep breathing deeply. Hang in there, deep breaths. Okay, one more lunge, bend that front knee. It's a little bit weird because you may not get your whole foot down on the floor here, but you're still getting this extension we're looking for in the left hip flexor. We're not here that long. Let's count our breaths, probably 11 breaths at this point. Two more. Okay, we're ready for the final stage where we're going to put a block under the left thigh and under the right leg, either at the calf or the thigh if you're able to. And we're hanging out here, breathing. hopefully you're finding this leg a little easier than the other one. Five more deep breaths. Okay, if you're up for it, you're going to take the blocks out. If not, you're going to go back into child's pose. Remember, you don't have to do it all in one day. Just be okay with the extent that you're able to right now. A few more breaths. Okay, you'll be happy to know we're coming out. Take your time doing so. Don't pull the legs too quickly. Use your hands to assist in moving them. They don't need to be rushed or contracted at this point. We're going to come to sit with the legs out in front of us. And we're going to come into a back bend. So, not all of us have the same props. If you have a block like this, put it behind you horizontally and maybe a folded blanket behind the head. If you don't have a block like this, you can roll your blanket and make yourself a bolster to lay over, and you can put that behind you like so. So these are some options. If you have a pillow, put a pillow. And if you have an egg block, you can put that behind you too. I'm pretty sure most of you don't, but you can order these. They're not cheap. They're nice because they're arched. You can use them in many different ways. We're going to lay back onto our backs and give our upper back a little bit of an opening since it's been ignored this whole time. You want the block to land about mid-upper back, so the shoulder blade area, but not lower than the shoulder blades. So your chest is elevated, your head is resting down, your arms are out to the sides, palms are facing up. You can have the arms up here, out to the sides, or down here, whichever feels best for you. And then we're going to relax. Soften the jaw. Relax the face, especially the eyes. And deepen the breath. So you have some options. You can stay here for the remainder of the class, which is about 5 minutes. Or you can roll off your prop, pull it out from underneath you, and either lie flat on your back for the next 5 minutes in Shavasana, or you can place the block under the pelvis, elevating the pelvis and lengthening the low back. In this case, the feet are parted wide and the knees are dropping in. So Shavasana, stay as you are, or supported bridge. And then settle back in, relaxing everything, the jaw, the face, the eyes. And breathe deeply. Start to deepen the breath again. Gently rock the head from side to side. We're just going to roll off whatever we're on onto our side. Pause here for a few breaths. And then slowly roll forward a little more. Press down into your hands and push yourself up, rounding your back and letting the head hang. And we'll come to sit up tall. And we'll finish with 3 Oms. You can place the hands in any mudra you like. I'm going to bring my hands together at the heart. Sitting up tall again, inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.